Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com and in parts unknown, the sultry, sexy voice.
Live in San Francisco, California.
Susan. Oh, I can hear myself now. 1-900 Susan. What's up, Susan?
Hey, Gary. Hey, it's me. How are you doing? How's everybody doing in the chat?
They look like they're doing great. Let me get you that link while I'm thinking about it real quick. So tonight we are going to be joined in a little bit by Doomcock, and we're going to talk about Westworld. We're going to talk about Jake Kasdan writing Indiana Jones 5. We're going to talk about Star Trek Discovery winning the Saturn Awards, and just last minute, I've decided, I'm sure somebody else has done this, but we're going to do the Nerdrotic Uranus Awards tonight, which I'd like you all to vote on later on. And whatever you guys want to talk about. We have a list of topics, but it's an open discussion tonight. There probably will be a little heavy on Westworld once Doomcock gets here. Dakota Stanton, thank you for the $5 super chat. Milk of the Poppy for Dennis, right? And Movie Finobi, thank you for the super chat earlier for $1.99. I truly appreciate that. And Susan, let me get you that link real quick, and it's going to be on your Twitter.
Okay.
And it is. I hope you can see that. It's embedded in there. Oh, that's an embedded link. Sorry, hang on.
I got it. I'm actually in.
Okay, good. You're in. Good. And I think I just heard from Doomcock. It didn't forward on Twitter. That's weird. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. And there, we'll shoot it to him again. And hopefully that'll work. If not, we can just invite him. So hi, everybody in the chat. How's it going today? Wow, it was starting out to be like a light news week. Dennis had talked to me yesterday, and he said, I don't know if we got much to talk about. And I'm like, well, we could always talk about Westworld. That subject has not died yet. But then, like, man, all kinds of stuff has happened today. So we can start out real quick with the show we cover. The Gifted season 2 is going to be September 25th. So we're going to start getting premiere dates for some of these shows we cover. Thank God, because it's looking pretty light for the summer. But I hopefully we'll hear some more stuff. God, I don't know what you can talk about, what we spoke about earlier. I don't want to come out and say it. If we can't talk about it, I don't want to talk about it. But about our man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's some of it I can't talk about, but there is some that, the fans might want to know about.
Sure.
We can ask them if they're, if they're interested in it. Because I think, Fandemic was kind of revelatory, I would say. Are you guys, I'll ask the people in the chat, are you guys up for hearing any new Bruce Campbell news?
Anyone? We got a like time. I am so secretive. I know we try not to be, Johnny. I just tried. Yeah. And we're waiting on the chat here.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Metal Monkey says always up for news. Marcus Collins like, yeah, yay, Bruce. Sure, Susan. Yes. Okay to Johnny. Okay, guys, this is what's going on. I had some eyes and ears at Fandemic Tour in Sacramento, and I wrote an article about this. But one of the things that came out for people that were saying, nope, he's going to be back if Sam Raimi decides to do Army of Darkness 2, if something's coming down the pike. But Bruce has said, and he's very serious and adamant about it, he has retired Ash forever. So people are like, never say never, but he seems pretty darn serious. And it's looking like he is also considering himself selectively retired. So, go ahead.
No, I think, of course, as a fan, I'm like, no, but I wish him luck. Retiring Ash might be the right thing to do. I did like the ending of season 3 quite a bit. I thought that was a fun ending.
Yeah.
And especially if that's where they're going to leave it. It was either that or kill Ash, and I don't want them to kill Ash, so we can make comics down in the future and, you know, radio dramas or whatever, you know, whatever they want to do. But as far as him being retired, good for him. I don't know if he's retired from acting, but retired from Ash, it totally makes sense to me, and I get it.
I think what he means by selectively retired is if something comes down the pike that floats his boat, he'll do it. If not, I do know that what he's focusing on right now is writing. He's doing a lot of writing and not necessarily like his past books. So that seems to be what he's doing. He's always going to do cons. He said right now he's doing at con, you know, he's doing that. And Last Man Standing is still on the table. They're trying to get something going with that. I know last year they were looking at doing a series of shows in Vegas. So yeah, there's stuff in the pipeline, but right now, and this is kind of sad though, he's kind of taken himself out of social media mix. You know, I don't know what happened, but he is living his life. I mean, he seems to be doing things like whitewater rafting, and today he was zip lining. So, you know, I'm glad he's living his life. I'm glad he's happy. I think it's a little sad that, you know, we don't really see him too much on social media. You know, but other than that, if that's the affairs. And I know at the Saturn Awards they talked to Lindsay Ferris and Ray Santiago. They were presenters, and they were both asked, can they revive Ash versus Evil Dead? Now, when I talked to Ray, Ray was like he was down for it. He wanted to do an animated cartoon with Pablo, Kelly, the whole gang, but he gives it a 10% chance now of happening. And Lindsay's a little more optimistic. He wants to see more with the Knights of Sumeria. He thinks there's potential in the universe, and if they can't get a series, he's thinking a movie. Well, Betty Alvarez has been in the news lately because what happened was 2 weeks ago, he offhandedly on Twitter said, if Uruguay wins the World Cup in answer to a fan's question, he'll do Evil Dead 2. Sure. So the media, of course, my colleagues went and ran with that because, well, what else do they do? And apparently Fetty had to come out and clarify and said that they're not just going to do it for the sake of doing it. Once they get a script, if they get a script, then they will do it. So I wouldn't hold your breath about Evil Dead 2 coming out because he's got to do the girl, the girl in the series of the girl with the dragon tattoo, the girl in the spider's web. He has to do that. He's working on that. He's got Don't Breathe 2 coming out. So this is very complicated because Starz still holds the rights to Ash. I don't know in the future, in the near future, if we're going to see anything.
Which is in turn owned by Lionsgate, which is this. Yeah, I don't.
And there's no place for it on the schedule. Let's be realistic.
No.
With the way that Lionsgate is taking that, with Vida and Bittersweet and a lot of the different shows, even a spin-off with the Ghost Speeders, because Bruce said, hey, if you guys want to see Kelly and Pablo, let Starz know because they're the ones that are in control of it. But I don't see where that would fit on their schedule.
No, and people, I mean, I hate to sound like a dick, but people had their chance to watch it and they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't see it. Yes, Doomcock lurks. I think he's here. Are you here?
I am here.
Ha! What's up?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going good.
Poor Dennis, alas.
Yeah, Dennis is sick, so hope Dennis feels better. I'm sure he's just getting drunk and listening to us. Sure.
Well, have one for me, pal.
There you go. So yeah, we were just talking Ash versus Evil Dead postmortem. There's still people who want to bring it back. I don't know why. You had your chance to watch it or whatever, and like we've been through all that, and it sucks because we lost Bruce, and I hate losing Bruce. Hopefully, he'll just do more stuff, and I'll go see him at cons. I wish he was going to San Diego, but
Yeah,
that would be fun.
That would be cool.
Yep, I think you're in your neck of the woods. It's going to be the September Last Fan Standing in Berkeley, and I should be hopefully seeing him in Indianapolis.
Nice.
Yeah,
I would go to Berkeley for him, but only him. That's the only time I would set foot in that town. So, yeah.
Oh, you meant literally Berkeley.
Yeah, Berkeley, California. Yeah.
I thought when you said that, it was like some kind of code, like, oh, I'd go Berkeley for him. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. You know, he's good, but yeah.
Well,
I'm going Berkeley on his ass. I don't know.
Maybe when he was younger.
Son of a.
Ray Rain, thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. It's your first time. Were you a super chat virgin? I promise to be gentle. Mary Ashby for $2. Uranus Awards, Witty, Legion, Westworld, The Expanse. Yes. I was the Uranus Awards. Somebody else has got to have thought of that. I can't be the first person to have thought of the Uranus Awards as a response to the Saturn Awards, which I knew was coming and I knew what was going to win. I'm surprised like some good stuff won, to be honest with you, like The Punisher. That was pretty good. But wow, man. And Doomcock, did you hear who's writing Indiana Jones 5?
I did indeed. The song "Climb Upon My Knees, Sonny Boy" comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That pathetic little nepotistic piece of shit, John Pansexual Kasdan.
Well, yeah, we're gonna find out. Indy's probably pansexual at this point. I don't know.
Indiana Jones.
Isn't she supposed to be a woman now? Isn't that the big rumpus?
Yes. Doomcock did a great video on that, by the way.
But how are they doing that, Doomcock, if Harrison Ford's in it? Because what are they doing there? Do you know?
Well, as it turns out, Harrison Ford was a woman all the time. Blacklisted by Hollywood. He was an ugly woman, but a good-hearted woman.
And he was over 40, so that was a problem.
Yep, he was over 40.
He said he was over 40, and it's like, well, I want to have a career, so I guess I'm just going to be a dude.
Oh my God, I could not.
It's just so fucked up. Look, I just cannot. It's just a point where you start to wonder if you've drifted into some kind of Lovecraftian alter state of existence, because it just makes no fucking sense whatsoever that the guy who wrote the biggest Star Wars failure in history is now going to be tapped to, I guess, write the biggest Indiana Jones failure in history. That's saying a fuck of a lot, with the nuked fridge and shit LaPouf being his kid. I mean,
right?
Fuck me.
Well, I guess they wanted to top it, and they found the right guy. I mean, to bottom it or whatever. Yeah, they want to bottom it.
Hey-o.
Hey, I'm here all week. Fuck that. That is crazy. And this is going to be a salty one tonight, guys. Okay, just fair warning. No, don't be sorry at all. We've got some good stuff to talk about later, but let's just get the bullshit out of the way. This is it almost feels like a fuck you hiring to me. Like just straight up, doubling down on the fans. Lucasfilm is really, God, how could you have how could you have worse customer service than George Lucas? I mean, everybody's loving George right now, but the guy was a dick to people. Okay. And this is worse. I want him back. That's how bad it is.
I think he was a dick by omission. I think he just ignored fans. I think that he just did what he wanted, but he never called people man babies on Twitter and were like a complete piece of shit like that Rian Johnson. Holy shit. They actively hate the fans. And maybe George hated the fans in the end. I don't know, but he kept it to him fucking self. And, and he reacted to fans. I mean, when Jar Jar didn't go over well, he minimized Jar Jar in the next two movies. I mean,
Well,
you know, he's
George
still
always supported, at least in my mind, he used to support the fans. He allowed fan fiction. A lot
yes,
of people would not do that. They'd poo-poo fan fiction and say, don't even bother coming into our universe. Here's our lawyers, meet them.
yeah,
And that's the whole thing is what people don't realize, and this goes for Hollywood too, is fandom and creators. It's a symbiotic relationship. And neither of you can go on Twitter or should go on Twitter and scream at each other. It's not making Rian Johnson look good, who I will say I thought, I'm going to sound very ignorant right now, but I thought he was a she by the name. Yeah, what do I know? So Rian is going on and screaming about at the fans. The fans are screaming at him. There's no point to it. What it does is it detracts from the work. Shut up and do your job. Write your fucking movie. Direct your fucking movie. Get off Twitter. Go do posts. And conversely, fans, just let it be. Let it be.
no,
they won't.
no. See, the problem with that equation is we are the fucking customers. You understand? We consume this shit, and when we get a defective product, I'm sending it back to the fucking kitchen. I'm taking it back to the store. I'm gonna shove it up Roundhead's fucking ass verbally every chance I fucking get. And if I ever see that cocksucker in public, okay, no lube, no lube.
Right.
No.
Right.
I'm
And
not suggesting that, that if it's defective, but I'm thinking there's a more diplomatic way of going about it.
Well-
And I think that's the problem. The fans, they don't know how to get what they want. So they go on full attack mode. I think there's a better way of doing it, and I don't think it involves, hey, we're going to redo the movie ourselves.
Well,
I don't
yes,
know
that's
about
fucking
that.
stupid. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
that is stupid. But what? Okay, so okay, I'm mentioning
But
it for the
Susan-
million. Oh, go on.
Yeah,
Susan.
Doomcock. Yes.
Regarding what you just said,
Yeah.
what part of DICKTOR Van Doomcock do you not understand? There's a certain amount of dickishness innate in my genetic structure. So saying that I ought to court Rian.
No, I didn't say court. I'm saying these other people on there are idiots that they don't know how to go about. You're not going out. Well, you do, but you're not going out and doing a Peter Fonda on them. Okay.
No.
You're not like making fans want to kill their firstborn children. There are people out there that are doing that all over Star Wars. You're just saying, look, you fucked this up, own up to it. Let's figure out how to fix it. What I'm saying is there's some downright crazy people out there that get a little out of control. You do it because you've got your show, but you're not doing it the way that these other people are doing it. That's what I'm talking about.
Very well.
Very okay. I'm a customer is always right. I owned a comic shop for 10 years. I am for the fans. I'm here for the fans. I'm always for the fans. I could care less about actors and directors. I don't we were nice enough to have one on from Happy. She was awesome, but like that's not what we seek out here. We're here to talk to the fans. We are an outlet for the fans, and I always side with the fans. Some of them are shitheads, but most of them just want a good product. And when Disney like completely ignores them, Disney started this. If they would have just shut the fuck up, there wouldn't be a Fuhrer right now. If Rian had not started this shit, and he started this shit, Kathleen Kennedy started this shit by saying that I owe the men nothing for this franchise, which is just the dumbest fucking statement I've ever heard. And then Rian Johnson calling people man babies, and it's, you know what it is? I hate to use this fucking word because it's kind of their word, but it's a toxic creators. Toxic creators. Not all the creators from The Last Jedi are attacking fans right now. And you notice that Doomcock is picking up, and I am too. Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson. You know what? The guy who plays Poe. I don't know his name. I'm not arguing with him right now because he's not starting any shit that I know of. And it's all about we are customers, okay, and we do fucking count, and we're gonna stop buying your product. And if you want to keep fighting about it, then okay, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose in the end, and that's why Bob Iger had a private meeting with Kathleen Kennedy, and and now it's so bad. She has made it so bad. Nobody wants the fucking job. Like I wouldn't want the job. Who would want this job? It would be fucking terrible. I don't know. They're offering it to the wrong people too. So
I'll take it. I'll take it. And you don't want to be in that writer's room when I walk in that fucking office building, buddy. You do not want to be there. I will fucking straighten that shit out, and I'll do it for $100,000 a year. You hear me, you cheap bastard? $100,000 allows a year, and I'll get that goddamn ship righted.
Dude, let's do it. That sounds awesome.
Not afraid. Fuck that. God damn, I can't do any worse. Who could do worse?
Well, Jake Kasdan probably.
I don't. It's just like he can make it more boring, but I mean, fuck. I mean, it's It's dead, Jim. Luke's fucking trashed. The original trilogy is trashed by proxy. Han's dead. Fuck it. Who is left to give a shit about in this thing?
Nobody. That's why I think it's just fucking dead at this point. I think it's just stick a fork in it. It's unfixable. And that's why I was at the point. It's like, go ahead, make your Rian Johnson trilogy, have fun, watch this thing just crash and burn. Star Wars Schadenfreude. Like that's the only enjoyment I'm getting out of it at this point is watching other people kind of trash it. It's I'm personally over it. The Last Jedi, I did a review on it like a year ago when the movie came out. It's amazing it's lasted this long. Probably because the Blu-ray came out and it's a whole resurgence. But this has lasted a long time. But it's because Rian Johnson do you say Rian or Ryan? How do you say that stupid name?
Rian.
God damn, that's so
I thought it was Ryan, but so many people say Rian. At this point, I don't fucking care. I just want them to all shut up and let's just stop with Star Wars until we can go behind the scenes, fix it, and then come back maybe in about 2 years with a good product.
We'll send Doomcock in there to fix it. That would be what the hell? Hang on, I'm sorry. We got $100 super chat.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
Wow.
John Bellman. Thank you, John Bellman.
All hail Lord Doomcock.
And we also got $5. We have $5 from Ray Rain. We had $1.99 from Movie Finobi for Doomcock's Boom Sock. We had something from Viking Bitch and Mary Ashmead.
Yeah, I got
$2.
Yeah, I got it.
You guys, thank you. And John, thank you so much. John is a very, very generous supporter of Doomcock at his Patreon page. John, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, John. Half of that goes to Doomcock. Okay. We'll make it happen.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
you.
Dude,
no problem. And the only way I come back to Star Wars is if Doomcock gets in there and fix it. That's it. I mean, that's because I'm following your law, sir. I am not going to buy this shit anymore. I got rid of my vintage figures. I have replaced them. I've actually given them to my patrons. They're all going to my patrons. And those are the toys I played with. So you could flip them, burn them, do what you want with them. I hope you enjoy them. Actually, give them to your kids or something like, or nieces or nephews, and hopefully they'll have some fun with some real action figures. And fuck, So
you heard like what I like when I said about how those producers on the showrunners on Star Trek Discovery got dismissed because they were harsh on the writers in the writers room. And Remember? Those fucking writers. Can you imagine what Doomcock would say? He had his morning coffee every goddamn morning. He'd go in there and be like the goddamn scene from Glengarry Glen Ross. Put that coffee down.
Every morning meeting would be a Sam Peckinpah movie. That'd be fucking awesome.
Fucking crying like little girls after Doomcock went through with them, and HR would call, and I'd make them cry too.
They have an HR.
I'd say, you can't fire me. I'm only making $100,000. Go fuck it.
Yep. I found that in the fucking George Lucas's couch.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'd get out of here. I'm making some goddamn Star Wars.
That would be great. That'd be great. But it is what it is. I mean, keep fighting. I love the fandom menace. I am a proud, supporter of the fandom menace and what those guys are doing, and they turn up the heat. And hey, listen, the guys and gals I watch don't like they're for one, there's men, there's women it's all across the spectrum. It is not a bunch of white man babies in their parents' basements. And by the way, I own my basement. All right. So I'm a fan man, not a fanboy. And I support what they do. I've been listening. It was great hearing you on World Class Bullshitters again. That was fucking awesome. I think that's a great thing for you, and it's going to launch you into the stratosphere, man. So keep it up on those guys. Please do.
If they invite me back, I'll be happy to go.
They will. I'm sure they will. They were very happy with you. So
I really enjoyed it, and it was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Susan in the chat. Hi, Susan. Did we lose you? No, I also wanted to point out, sorry, Doomcock, real quick. Somebody put it in the chat, and it is great that you see that Susan and Doomcock, and like sometimes I and Susan will have a disagreement, but we don't like hate on each other because that's how we roll here. Okay. Because we're normal fucking people. Well, except for Doomcock. He's not really normal, but I mean, normal in an evil dictator kind of way. So there you go.
I be normal.
Right? I be normal.
I be somebody. What?
You got an abnormal brain. Oh, I fucking love that movie. Movies they can't make anymore.
Not at all. But Mel Brooks can rest easy because no one will make a piss poor remake of any of his films.
That's a great point. That is a great point.
That's true. They can't touch Blazing Saddles.
Oh, hell no. No, not in this day and age.
That would be the best parody film, though, like an SJW Blazing Saddles.
Oh my
like a progressive Blazing Saddles. Somebody make that.
You see that guy on the roof? Oh, God, dang it! The sheriff is a person of color.
Yeah, he's a POC.
Person of color.
Oh man!
All person of color hit me in the head with a shovel.
I give my poor girls $2. Wish I could give more. You guys are so awesome. Best chat ever. Hey, $2 is plenty. I am a little shocked by that super chat. And whatever we get, listen, 99 cents, it's appreciated. I never thought we'd ever get that stuff. So you guys are great. You guys are awesome in the chat. We really do have the best chat on YouTube. And let's keep it that way. But since we're all fired up, we could talk about Westworld a little bit if you'd like.
Sure. How do you feel about that, Susan?
About Westworld? Wow. There's a lot going on. Gary and I were discussing it. So many things that they're trying to do. It looks like, according to Lisa Joy, she is moving things into season 3. That's why there were some loose ends. That's why there was some craziness. And we were also talking about the women all of a sudden getting uber powers. Like I said to Gary, that Maeve suddenly is becoming very biblical. And, it seems to be calculated on her part. But there's a lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of characters like the man in black. We have that whole situation going on. Gary and I were talking about the Lakotas. I did some looking on Reddit and a lot of, different theories that the fans are talking about. So it's quite a bit to discuss there. Quite a bit. I mean,
Yeah.
like Gary said, it's risky. When you take stuff and you try to move it into the next season, you run the risk of losing fans. And Gary, maybe you want to talk about that, because we did have a decent discussion about what Lisa Joy's doing, how both of us really don't go along with it. Maybe you want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah, before we set Doomcock loose real quick, I recapped with Dennis the entire season, and I was enjoying it for the most part because I had it in my head that we'd get a wrap up like we did in season 1. So I didn't want to judge it too harshly. I saw some kinks in the armor as it did, and I mentioned them. I really wasn't happy with some of the Williams stuff they're doing. Not his overall arc, just the fact that he was just another evil man in the show. And I thought there was going to be way more to him than what was. He ended up still having one of the better storylines, but as things progressed, I saw that even Westworld, which, you know what, Game of Thrones, I mentioned this too. Game of Thrones fell victim to this too, with the, we're trying to, and this is going to sound bad, folks, but you got to listen. Okay. They're amped up the women at the beset of the men. All the men are stupid. It's like Doomcock's video. The men turned out to be either stupid, bumbling, or evil for no fucking reason. Like Bernard's like the one good guy, but he was just doping around all season, like, in a stupor. Teddy was the one character that they could have done the most with. It was the most, they could have turned him around, and they just made him, he killed himself. There was freaking since last season, there's been 4 suicides. There's a lot of suicides in this show, just willy-nilly suicides that make no fucking sense. And yeah, there's a lot of leaps in logic. There's a lot of things left open for season 3 that they should have given us a taste more if they have some big answer for it. I thought things were going to get wrapped up, and they didn't. And the more I thought about it, as the week goes on, the more I really fucking hate the last episode. There was some stuff I liked. I loved the Lakota episode. I thought it was beautiful. But I don't know what that did for the story, other than to make it good. And I know Doomcock's got harsher opinion of it, but the more I think about it, the more I get pissed off. And then you're gonna have to wait 2 years. It's 2 years, by the way, between seasons. I don't know if it's good. The show's even going to survive that. And the question I ask in this video is, has Westworld jumped the shark? Doomcock, is this it for Westworld, or can it be fixed?
I don't care. I'm not going to be watching season 3. I mean, what's the point? What's the point, honestly? Aside from the fact that, okay, the narrative was jumbled. They can say it's deliberate. They can say it was mirroring Bernard's fragmented consciousness. Fine. But it didn't augment the story any. All it was really doing is trying to conceal problems in the narrative rather than illuminate, the brilliant structure like Tarantino does in Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill or even Reservoir Dogs. He's kind of the master of the non-linear cinematic narrative. And these guys are just fucking throwing this shit in a Cuisinart, I think, and letting it get cut randomly almost. It was embarrassing. Can anyone fucking explain to me why Maeve has this God voice power that was stolen from the preacher, where she's got voice command authorization across the park, and she only uses it when it's convenient at the end, like after the samurais captured them all, after the shogun has stabbed the geisha to make the point that men evil, women oppressed and good. She could have spoken Japanese before. She could have basically, when that contingent of armed guys came marching down the street, she could have gone out and yelled, "Drop your weapons and follow me," and gone and pretended to be captured and sprung a trap on the shogun and slaughtered them all with very little problem. But no, we have to let Doomcock roll his eyes and say the geisha has a dagger in her fucking hair, and la-di-da, she sure shit did. Who didn't see that coming? Is there anyone that didn't see that coming, for fuck's sake? Honestly, it's just the logic problems the constant logic problems. And Maeve was the worst. When they go to her house finally, where her daughter is, and she tells them, no, I've got to do this alone. In the house, where she knows that the house is part of an Indian narrative where she's gotten killed before, and she's going to go down there because she's a tough cowgirl now, by golly. She goes down there all alone, without a weapon either, without a weapon.
Mhm.
And the Indian goes up, and what does she do? Run!
Right?
Run! She doesn't say anything to the Indian like, oh, hey, cut it out or anything. No, she fucking runs. It's just too fucking stupid. How stupid do they fucking think we are? Really? Honestly. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. The more you think about it.
Yeah. No, I think what's going on here is
Bad writing.
it's a case of it's a case of a show trying to be more than it is, trying to infuse dramatic meaning into it. What do I mean by that? Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan are setting this up to be a huge morality tale now. They want it to be an overarching thing about the fear of humans, and that Maeve is the goodness in all of us, and Sizemore is the worst of mankind, the narcissism. And this is what they're trying to do. They're almost trying to Roddenberry this. And sometimes I think you just have to let the narratives, you don't infuse shit that doesn't belong there. That's just my feeling about it.
Yeah, that what they did is this is a different show from season one. It's a clearly a different show, and they infused. And Susan, we talked about that the whole Time's Up thing. And now the show was written prior to that, but it was in Lisa Joy's mind, and it's part of a current trend in Hollywood. And we also talked about, listen, there was a time, there's no doubt there was a time where women, if they were over 40, all they were was somebody's fucking mom, and or they weren't cast anymore. That is still happening, and it's bullshit. But guess what? We, the fans, didn't make that decision. That was you, Hollywood. So your big overcorrection and then attacking fans for criticizing it is your fucking fault, not ours. You're the assholes who weren't casting women in the first place. And now there's this huge overcorrection. And let me point out that this was written by a woman, that Maeve had to be amped up, okay, to have superpowers to take on the men. She couldn't just take her on as her madam self, okay? Because, you know, in the guise of a Western, this is supposed to be a science fiction fucking Western. There was the gun-toting madam, and there was, you know, a gun-toting girl ranch hand. And what they had to do with both of them was, with Dolores, they put an evil man inside her head. And then with Maeve, they had to boost her to godlike powers instead of just as she was. She could just figure out stuff just as she was. That, I think that part is like fucking insulting. That's the sexist shit. That's not us, you know, and like it, you know, if a dimwit like me can point that stuff out, I'm guessing other people can suss that out. And that's, and it's also, it's just bullshit. They're doing it for a trend because they think that's the way the wind was blowing to make money. They don't really care about this stuff. I've worked there. Okay. They don't give a shit. I used to work in the fucking auto industry and Hollywood. And I'm telling you, Hollywood was the most sexist, racist place I've ever fucking worked in my life. And that's including the auto industry, which is the last bastion of all that shit. So I don't know. What do you think? Sorry, that's my spur of the moment, but that's how I felt about it, especially with, you know, I don't mind. Again, there were strong women in season one, and I like season one. I fucking love season one. I want to just remember season one at this point, you know, and I liked a lot of season two, but you're only as good as how you end, honestly. Yeah. And it ended like shit. So
yeah, it sure as hell did. And you know, the problem is it's not really a question of strong women. It is in conjunction with nothing but despicable men. So it's not an accident. It's a clear bit of propaganda that is incredibly offensive. And I mean, in my last video, I pointed out that is sexism. That is sexism, to say that one group is innately superior to another group. I don't give a damn which group it is. That's sexism, or racism divided in that, because in the subdivision, like, Bernard is black, and so he's just kind of befuddled. Some of the techs are Asian and stuff. They're just kind of comic relief and befuddled. It's really the white men that are consistently actually evil. And it's that conjunction of viewpoint that it makes it into propaganda. Nobody has ever complained, to my knowledge. I've never heard anybody complain about Leia in Star Wars, in the first Star Wars, who was brassy and tough and amazing. Ripley, Sarah Connor. I really don't remember all the protests about them being strong women. It's not anything to do with strong women. It has to do with shit writing and political agendas that are like encoded into the way that they're presenting characters.
Yeah, and it's executed at a kindergarten level. I mean, like, smart writers can put this stuff in without anybody noticing, and it's happening with Star Wars. And I actually started noticing it, Doomcock. I've been working on a video for like 6 months about Hollywood, how Hollywood hates fathers. I'm very sensitive to that shit. Okay, I'm a dad, and there's no fucking good fathers in Hollywood. And I just picked the last 10 things I watched at random. And there's an example of a bad father in every single one of them. Either it's like a Bechdel test for dads. I hate to use that term, but it's a Bechdel test for dads. Like, is a father mentioned? I got it in the video, but it's a father mentioned. He's either ineffectual, missing, or an idiot. And the last 10 things I watched hit at least one of those three things on everything. Yeah. Even Solo mentioned it in passing. It was Han Solo, like, yeah, my dad knew everything about the ships, but he was an asshole. I didn't talk to him. And then, Lando goes, my mom, my dad was a dick too, but my mom was awesome. Why did we need that scene? Was that their bonding scene that we both hate our dads? Why did we have to hate our dads? I know it's very Greek, but it's also very tired. The good fathers, I couldn't pick 10. I was trying to get a top 10 dads. Yeah.
Yeah. So, men are bad. No, I mean, they don't stop being bad when they're dads. Their badness continues, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
I probably talked about this before because it obsesses me, but if I did, stop me. But there was this commercial going around where the dad was playing with the kid in the yard, and the dad gets hit in the mouth with a baseball bat. And the mother comes out and she's like, oh no, now what's this going to do to our vacation? And it's all very funny. And I just wonder how goddamn funny. He's holding his mouth. I mean, he's fucking hurt. I mean, I'm not kidding. And I just wondered, I wonder how funny that would be with the mother whacked in the mouth with a fucking bat and dad coming out saying, well, there goes our vacation.
Right? Oh shit.
I mean, that is so goddamn that stuck in my mind is just so fucking filled with. So it was the buffoonish dad, which is a staple of commercials. And it was funny slapstick that he got seriously injured with getting hit in the mouth with a bat.
Well, yeah.
He didn't show blood, but he was wincing the whole time and covering his fucking mouth. So
look at that idiot dad.
Hilarity ensued.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not super sensitive to a bunch of stuff, but it's like, it's gone too far to where I've even got to pop off about it, and I've got feelings about this stuff, and it's good to talk about it again. I'm a normal person. I don't get, I'm not like threatened by any of this shit. My wife makes a hell of a lot more money than I do. I'm not threatened by that. I don't care. That's great. So it's not about being anti-women, and that's what we're trying to say is, like, you can be pro-women and not anti-men. They can both exist, and that's why I said it's executed on a kindergarten level, because that's maybe most of people in Hollywood think that's the lowest common. They try to get to the lowest common denominator. They think most of fans are stupid. They might have an argument, I don't know, but that's what they think. Generally, that's what marketing companies think. They're like, we got to go to the lowest common denominator. That might be a little too smart for them, and it's shit like that that's brought us to where we are today. So
I'm going to say something very controversial, and I'm going to apologize beforehand for it. But all of this movements that we're seeing, all of these things that are going on in our world today, I'm going to say this and I'm ready for the punch. A lot of this is setting women back. It's setting us back to a time when we were just expected to be barefoot and pregnant, because we are putting this in everybody's faces all the time, saying, you know, look at us, how powerful we are. We're empowered. Okay, great. You're empowered. Shut the fuck up. Why don't you just show us that you're empowered by writing good movies, by writing good television shows, by not infusing everything with your personal agenda? Why can't it be where men and women are equal, where all of them are together, nobody's better than the other, but whenever you try to best a sexism or what have you, it just sets everything back and it calls attention to the fact that you're trying to rise above, if that makes any sense. So
Of
I'm
course
a
it does.
female that is not a fan about that at all. At all. And you know, I know it's controversial. Women, I'm supposed to be out there going, yes, yes, yay, yay, I'm gonna do a march and everything. No, I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You're creative. Write your shit, and that's it. Stop it.
Yeah,
That's how
I
I
agree.
feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't see anybody punching you for that. That's just truth. I mean, you're a writer. I'm also a writer, to be perfectly blunt. And you know, the rule of drama is show, not tell.
Mm-hmm.
What you describe, I keep saying it. I will say it over and over again every single time this comes up. The model for how to move forward is the expanse, where there are every race, every sex, in every possible end of the spectrum, villain, hero, you know, lowly person, leader. Nobody thinks anything of it because the writing is great. And that is how you present, honest to God, women role models, or role models for people of color, or role models for white people. Ooh, how about that? Just showing that these people go about their business without any trumpeting or ballyhoos, because they are who they are in the script.
Right.
Straight up. Just, you know, just to brag about my wife for a second here, you know, she came up to San Francisco with $150, nowhere to live, no car, and she owns a home. She runs a business now. She's pretty damn good at what she does. That's a role model. That's a role model for my kids. That's who I emulate. She's awesome. That's you know, the bullshit that's going on now. And she doesn't have to do it at my behest. I will make myself look stupid plenty. And you know, it's nice hearing two writers. I am not a writer. I can barely spell, but that's why I have better people on so I can talk to. But that's, you know, this
Writers
is where,
are drunks and neurotics, though, so we're not exactly better. I wouldn't say.
okay. Well, smarter. We'll say smarter.
I'm speaking for myself anyway.
Yeah. Oh man. So really, it's you know, this is an IP like Star Wars and Star Trek. They really rely on the normies out there, the people who aren't getting in these arguments and stuff, who just go and try to enjoy the shit, and that's who you've lost. So you've got the people who we still care enough to hate it, and you know, hating is caring, and bitch about it. But you've lost the normies. That's what Solo clearly was. A fan revolt that worked. They can deny it all they want. It fucking straight up worked. And you lost the normies. The normies like are going to stay away in droves now, and you're screwed. Because you did this. Westworld, you kind of did the same. Yeah, we'll see. You know, the ratings were down. The ratings were down. So
I'm not surprised. It was shit.
Yeah. And you know, 2-year wait, it's screwed. It's really screwed. And again, there's so much better stuff to watch out there. Expanse, Legion, you know, Counterpart.
Oh man.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We don't need any of that stuff. I got to
And
get this.
notice all the shows that you mentioned are not agenda shows.
Nope.
Right.
Guess what though? There's politics in some of them. There is.
Well, sure.
Yeah, but it's well written and nobody bitches about it because it's goddamn counterparts good. Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of super chats to get to. I'm still in shock over that John Bellman one.
John Bellman, thank you, sir.
You are
Legionnaire
awesome.
Bellman.
Legionnaire Bellman. I think at the end of the show, I think I know I want to be the minister of, by the way.
Good.
Yeah. Extra butter with my popcorn lung, says Johnny Pappas, $9.99. Feisty fan on a break from D&D. Love you guys. Hi, Gary, Doomcock, and Susan with little heart emoji.
Right back at you, feisty fan.
Ray Rain, $2 suspension of belief. Doomcock, super sarcasm. Fuck yeah. And Artemis over easy, $10 more potty mouth. Susan, please. Nicely said, Susan.
Yes, more potty mouth.
Yeah, more potty mouth.
Hey, Susan gets fired up, folks. Do not fuck with Susan. Okay.
Come to Butthead.
Sure.
I gotta get there is some chat I gotta get to, folks. Let's get to that a little bit. We try to be fully interactive here. There's so much. Jasper Seho, you were asking. Sorry I lost, but I can paraphrase your chat. You were asking if we're gonna cover other stuff over the summer. Yes, we are. Better Call Saul is on the list. It is on the list. We're gonna go outside of genre a little bit because I like that show. It's good. I
can't watch it.
You can't?
Not good. I cannot watch it because, well, I have an extremely controversial opinion about Breaking Bad. At the time, I was apoplectic, so I guess someday we'll discuss that because
sure. And I could tell you why I watched Better Call Saul, but I didn't watch Breaking Bad.
Wow.
I can't. It was too uncomfortable for me. I'm recovering.
Oh yeah, right.
I lived that life. I mean, it wasn't not to that extreme, okay, but you know, trailers and cooking, sure, yeah, okay. I don't want to see that again.
I lived out there, so I know all about that.
Yep.
Are you the one who knocks, Susan?
Yes. Yeah.
JD Free Ality says Doomcock is dead right. Big TV and movie scripts are being wrote in such a way that they put forward a political / ideological agenda. Problem is most of it is all the scripts are shit. That's the problem. It's not the politics. Yes. It's I always use the example of Alan Moore. That guy's fucking crazy. I don't believe a thing that guy does, but I love his shit. I love his comic, or most of his comic books anyway, not all of them, but
Alan Moore is a fascinating individual. I would love to meet Alan Moore someday. I have actually studied magic in the way that he discusses it. It's a fascinating thing, and I believe that it can work. But that's an entire philosophical discussion into the nature of the fundamental nature of reality. I guess we will have some other time.
Oh, we got to have that. I'm a believer in a lot of things. Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Right.
Boy, daddy. Nice.
Just tears in the rain.
Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser gates. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain.
Well done, sir.
Wow, I gotta go.
Right,
I gotta go lay down for a moment.
That was well done.
It's a wonderful speech. I've waited my whole life to say it.
Thanks, Woody.
I don't mean to be didactic or interject at this juncture. Roy Batty, he's an android and he's blonde, so he's a Nazi, but he's one of the good ones, I guess.
Oh God.
Sungi is calling. Oh, sorry.
Oh God, there used to be a guy on Howard Stern. You ever watch Howard Stern? He'd
Yes.
do like celebrity like squares, and he'd have Wood Yi, and it'd be like this
Yes.
old guy. He's just like he couldn't act to save his life, but every once in a while he would like, what do you think about that Wood Yi? And he would look down at his card. Yeah, I with 2 you get egg roll.
Yeah, I
Things
remember
like that. You know, it just cracked me up.
back when Howard was awesome. He
Before he,
sold out. Yeah.
yeah.
Artemis Over Easy says, sad thing, there will always be this problem if we fans continue to watch shit shows and with shit writing. It was said earlier, we don't know what we want as fans. Spoon-fed drones. That's how they feel about us, Artemis Over Easy. They definitely feel like we're a bunch of just automatons or drones that like I try to cover shit we like. I don't want to like get mad about stuff, but that's going to change a little bit in the fall when Doctor Who comes out, because I've been really quiet on that. I might pull a flamethrower out on that one, because I am super pissed about Doctor Who. And something that put me over the edge, and it was my kid. I was like ready to just be done with it. My kid is like, that was the one thing we watched together, and like and I tried to like let him make his own decision with the change and everything, and he's like, this is dumb. Why are they doing this? I hate Doctor Who now, and that did it for me. So yeah.
I had to stop watching it really during Matt Smith. It just Moffat he just ran it into the ground. It became like a goddamn children's show or something, like a show for hyperactive kids. Like Doctor Who was basically a hyperactive ADD. Fizzes are cool. What the fuck?
Yeah,
terrible. And then I was hoping, Capaldi. What a great presence. He could have been like, Peter Cushing Doctor Who. He could have been grand and kind of imperious and spooky in that first episode with fucking Jenna. Jesus Christ, I can't stand that Jenna.
No,
Jenna Cohen. Capaldi, I love him. Okay, I love
me too.
Malcolm. He's great.
The thick of it.
Yes, and I expected so much, and I was let down by the finale. I wanted to see something grander, and the finest moment that he had on that show was at the beginning, where he looks at Clara and he says, "You don't see me, do you? You can't see me." That scene is so powerful and so filled with emotion that I was like, wow, this is Peter Capaldi. I can't believe that. He's not acting, brash and rude, but there's actual feeling there. And in that moment, it had potential. But then whatever happened, the road they went down, it wasn't a good season for me at all. And it was so disappointing.
I just couldn't watch it. I mean, I watched the first Capaldi Doctor Who, and it became clear that he was going to be a buffoon for the goddamn companion. Look, any episode of Doctor Who where the companion is more important, is wiser, is advising him, there's thousands, I don't know how old he is, it's bullshit. And that whole thing with fucking what's her name, Clara, when she was under his bed as a kid, and she was at all points in time and space. I hope she's up my ass and it smells bad. I fucking, there's no fucking words for how much I had to get the fuck out of there. I think that Doctor Who basically stopped at David Tennant when Russell T Davies stopped writing it. And that was its glory days right there.
Yeah, you're right.
He was brilliant.
He was so brilliant with it.
Yes.
And, I enjoyed the first 2 seasons of Matt Smith, but it became clear. My theory is, anyway, Moffat started getting a bunch of criticism, which he didn't deserve, by the way, calling him sexist. And I think it got into his head and absolutely changed his writing. He started thinking about his writing. And which, I mean, I'm not a writer, but I do stuff creatively. And once I start thinking there's a boundary or a barrier on me, I start fucking up. I cannot do, if I don't feel like I'm free to do whatever the hell I want to do creatively, and I start checking myself, you're going to come out with crap. And that's nothing mattered. There was no consequences. Nothing mattered. You're right. The Fez, all this random stuff, which at first, I thought there was going to be payoffs at the end. I'm like, okay, this is cool. There'll be a payoff. And there wasn't any, the whole Rory, was he the master? That would have been cool if they would have done that. Like all the weirdness with Rory that they never paid off. It just turned to crap. It turned to crap real fast. I watched all of them. I tried really hard to give it my best shot. And oh, dude, it just got worse and worse. And then they took a year off, and then when they got back, it sucked. Took another year off, and now that's a female Doctor Who. They're giving her they set her up so badly. They took another year off. They gave her a really bad writer, by the way. Sorry, Chibnall or Chinball or whatever his name is. I don't think he's that good. And they set her up for failure, which that's another thing. Is I know some people are happy about it. That's great. And now that Moffat's gone, I guess that is. But I'm not. I'm following Doomcock's law. I'm just not going to buy it. I'm not into it. I've got Tennant. I've got my fourth Doctor. I've got my third Doctor, and we're going to I'll cover old Doctor Who instead.
Yeah. Tom Baker.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Love Tom Baker. But, and Jodie, what's her name? Jodie Whittaker. What's her name?
Yeah. Jodie Whittaker.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she was good on Broadchurch.
Yep.
I've seen her on a number of things, and she's a good actress, but it's just another cheap gimmick in this environment where the force is female and all this shit. It's just the wrong time to do this shit. And it's just, I want to ask Susan, do you think that actually Hollywood hates women and hates that they're doing this? I mean, look at let me just lay this out, this case, honestly. Is it a reverse thing? Is it like masquerading as female positive, but really they're actually trying to sabotage women at every turn? Because look at Mikey Spock. Mikey Spock is one of the most loathsome characters imaginable. I hate that fucking bitch more than I can possibly say. And it's not all that she's like Spock's stepsister. She's obnoxious. She's incompetent. She's insubordinate. She's arrogant as all fuck. Okay, so that does women of color no goddamn good, no goddamn good at all. And then you've got Rose in Star Wars. Okay, and what does Rose do? She lives up to the worst Asian female stereotype in the world and crashes her car into Finn at the end. So it's a car wreck.
Yeah.
Okay. Asians, that's the stereotype, that they're bad drivers. So, and what do we have? God damn it. She doesn't use a ray or something to EMP pulse. She crashes into him. Okay.
What does Jodie, sorry, just to interject real quick. What does Jodie Whittaker do the first time she touches the TARDIS?
She wrecks it.
She crashed it.
She crashes it. So that's my point. That's exactly where I was going. You read my mind.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on it.
No, but that's perfect. That's exactly where I was going.
But
what the fuck are they thinking? Why can they not, if they're going to put women in powerful roles in charge, have them behave competently? What does Holdo do? She accelerates at hyperspeed and rams that ship. Well, I don't get it. What do you think, Susan?
I think it's very complicated. I think that Hollywood is very misguided when it comes to portraying women. They're going out of their way to try and press issues like we talked about with Westworld. But conversely, what they're doing is they're just exacerbating the issue. I think once we quit writing for women and just writing good dialogue and not specifically for a character because she's female, I think that's going to change. When is it going to change? I can't tell you. I don't know, but we have to get out of this climate in Hollywood. And unfortunately, I don't see it happening anytime soon. But when you mentioned about Jodie, the first thing that happens is she wrecks the TARDIS. So did Matt Smith. So yeah, he did too, because it's kind of like the Doctor's thing. But I get your point, Doomcock. It's kind of like the Doctor's thing. When he regens, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he forgets about how to pilot the TARDIS. But the point of it is you're exactly right. It's a woman, so she crashes the car. Like I said, it's got to come from the writers, and we need to either get better writers. We need to, I don't know where we're going to find them, because we keep recycling. It's like sports, the same damn coaches everywhere.
Yep.
We keep recycling the same damn writers. So it's like they need fresh voices, and they need to find people that are not gender specific. You write a character. When you're writing, characters are supposed to talk to you. And if they talk to you as a female, it doesn't necessarily mean that you write it specifically that way. But if it is a character that is a female, write it. Don't write it just because you have to have that in your movie or your television show. That's how I fall on that. I think this whole defining of gender is just, it makes me batshit crazy. It really does. I don't think it's necessary.
I think it's really fucked up that these Hollywood writers need to remember that when you're writing women, write them as human beings.
Right.
Just forget about the women thing. Just write them as human beings. I mean, you don't have like Ripley and Alien, picking out color coordinated outfits, or
No.
putting on worrying about how she looks to Tom Skerritt, with her mascara, or she's just a fucking human being doing a fucking space job just like all the rest of them, and that is what it would be. I mean, what the fuck?
Let's throw it back even further. Let's go back to the days of Katharine Hepburn and the days of when women were tough, when they weren't written gender specific, when there were stronger women characters in the 40s than there are today. I don't know what that says, but maybe we need to go back there. Maybe we need to figure out what made them work, what made those characters tick, and then start trying to make a new version of that. But back in the day, women, there were tough women, and they're well written, dialogue was crisper. I think we should go back to that.
Get your hands off of my booze, Rosie. Mr. Orland, you're a drunkard. Listen, I'm not kidding around. Now you put that stuff down. No, Mr. Orland, it's going over. We're going to kill the Germans.
Exactly.
You're my knight in shining armor. Sorry, that's the only one I know. It's not to get into this one, but I'm old enough. So my grandparents, who are passed, by the way, lived through the Depression. So did my dad. So that's still part of that generation. That made everybody fucking tough. The kids today have no concept of what it was like back then. I don't have a concept, but it definitely made, like, my little sweet Grammy smoked fucking filterless Lucky Strikes until the day she fucking died at 89 years old. She was badass. She was a hobbit, and she wouldn't take shit from me. So yeah, that's just part of the generation. And maybe it's strife. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Matrix is right. We have to be miserable to, otherwise we just turn into a virus with shoes, which is what creatively Hollywood has been lately in some stuff, not all stuff, but
yeah, but Susan's right. We need to find fresh new voices as writers, and so like John Kasdan. Yeah, which is exactly why we won't find fresh new voices, because every little sonny boy and nephew and groveling ass kisser has their fucking hand out and no talent. That's what it is.
Right.
Hollywood is lazy. That's the bottom line. I'll tell
That's
you
true.
why. The Twitter that I'm on has a plethora of talented individuals out there that write fiction, that write horror, that write science, sci-fi. They're all over the map. Hollywood is lazy. They need to start getting these people at agencies that look at Twitter, or start looking at these film festivals, and not necessarily Sundance or the bigger names. The talent is out there. Hollywood just doesn't want to find it because they have to work. That's the bottom line. God forbid they should get out of their little, air-conditioned mansions and try to figure out how to do shit. What we need to do, and this is me pontificating, but what we need to do is, I want to go back to the 90s. I want to go back to when indie film was prized, when we had fresh ideas, when we had people that weren't afraid to experiment with stuff. Like when David Cronenberg did Crash, what a fucked up movie. But yet we got it. It was, you just sat there and you were like, holy shit, is this really happening? Are they screwing while there's a car wreck happening? What the, and I want more of that. I want offbeat things like Naked Lunch with Peter Weller. I mean, we don't get that now. We've lost that vision. And nowadays, if you're out there, anybody in the chat that wants to make a movie, you make your movie. You don't have to live in fucking LA. Live where you live. Shoot the film where you are. Shoot it on your goddamn iPhone. Until we do some kind of creative uprising, we're going to keep getting shit from Hollywood because they're lazy. And that's the bottom line.
We got to stop buying it. You preach, Susan. I had the opportunity to work in a CEO's office at Disney. All right, I won't say where, but I shot a little Star Wars video. Okay, I lit it and everything, and I was there all day, and I got to watch this guy work. He didn't do shit. He planned his lunch. He ate his lunch, left for 3 hours, watch his kid or something like that. Probably go bang a mistress or something. Came back, worked for like a half an hour. Said, hey, how's it going? He was nice to us and everything, but I was like, man, that is the fucking life. And he was like way up there, okay, just way up there. And and I'd only shot there one day, and I'd asked my friend, I'm like, is it like that all the time? He's like, yeah. I'm like, God damn, it's good to be the king, right on. But that's true. I mean, people think that like all this massive planning went into Star Wars. I think it was Rian spilled the beans. He said there was no planning. They allowed him to do whatever he wanted. They just like said, go ahead. And yeah, so Susan's absolutely right that and that's kind of how it is. In comics, they do a little more planning than that. It's hard to believe that they do more planning in comic books than they do in film, to be honest with you. It's quite shocking. But they don't put any thought in anything. It's clear, but they're going to have to now, because the fans have a direct line to them, whether they want to avoid it or not. There's no actor worth his salt who's going to stay off Twitter. Okay. You're an actor because you like attention. So you're going to get on Twitter, but part of your gig now, you can't complain about fans, because this is part of your gig now. You're going to have to learn customer service. You can't just like hide behind an agent or anything. It's part of the job now.
Yep.
On that end, social media is a rough area. You realize if you're any kind of creative, you've got to do the social media thing. And, some people are cut out for it. Some people aren't. And there's like somebody in the Omari Daniels said Andrew Lincoln doesn't use Twitter because he's not into social media. But Andrew Lincoln is Andrew Lincoln, so he's always going to get cast. But when you're starting out, or when you're a lower level tier or lower tier creative, you've got to be on all those social media. And it is very taxing and it's very exhausting. But like Gary said, That's what you signed up for. You know, it's like, I sometimes think that celebrities should take courses or something in how to do social media. I know it sounds weird, but maybe their agents, well, half the time the agents don't even get social media. Somebody needs to train them, because then maybe we wouldn't get a plethora of actors going off the deep end on Twitter, you know, kirking out at every moment. I don't know what would fix that. But social media is intrusive, but you have to learn how to use it.
That's true. But I mean, it's only
Yep.
intrusive as you allow it to be. It's a door that you choose to open. I have
Right.
chose to open. Like I am not anonymous. Like I put myself out there and I get shit, like everybody else. Cool. Right on. Attention's attention. But yeah, and I'm sure Doomcock gets a lot, and I'm sure you do too, Susan, especially from the Ash versus Evil Dead community. Yeah, we all take it in stride. And yeah, the attacking. I don't know. Like I said, I was a shop owner, so like attacking a fan it makes me cringe just hearing about it. Like, why the fuck would you do that? I mean, like, don't you like money? Aren't you doing this to make money? Because you're
Right.
not. Ugh. God damn them. Sorry. Good for Andrew Lincoln for not being on social media. Some people can do that. That's cool. That's cool.
Well, like I said, Andrew Lincoln, he can do that. I mean, if he weren't Andrew Lincoln, he'd have to be on some form of social media.
Right. I'm gonna read some chats here. I'll try to get it to as many as I can, folks. We've been on a roll here, and I didn't want to interrupt it. How you doing, Doomcock? You all right?
Yes, doing fine.
All right. So irritated with STD winning. We knew it was going to win the fucking Saturn Award. It was I'm surprised it didn't win more. I'm surprised it lost one, to be honest with you. The Saturn Awards are they were paid off. They're irrelevant, and at least a couple went to semi decent shows like The Punisher. But that was, I mean, we expected that, right? That the STD would win a Saturn Award. Are you surprised?
It's complete sham. Complete sham. I mean, these companies, I mean, they're so corrupt and so like desperate to have anything positive to say about these shit shows that I'm sure they applied enormous pressure and bribes and campaigning and everything to get this shitty Saturn Award just so they can slap it on their fucking defective piece of shit show, just so that idiots not paying attention. Oh, it won an award. I guess I was wrong to think my geese box sucks. I guess I better take a look at it. Yeah.
No, I saw
so
that.
Desperate. Same bunch of bullshit.
Oh my God. I saw that Frank Oz tweet. I don't know if you saw that. I almost retweeted. I usually don't retweet celebs. It's not one of my thing, but it was all caps like, Rian, you wrote me such beautiful words. Congrats on the win. And I was like, oh no, Frank, no. God damn you, Frank Oz.
One condom soiled.
The Saturn Awards remind me a lot of the Hollywood stars on the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
It used to be you earned the star. Now it's how much are you willing to pay for it?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of massive campaigning goes into the Saturn Awards, because they're kind of like a fringe. They're genre. But I know there's a huge push for the Emmys. There's a huge push for the Oscars. Used to see it in the trades all the time. For the Emmys, you would get the screeners coming out right and left. With the Saturn Awards, it was just like high school, because I was watching them streaming, and I was like, oh, look, here's the king and the queen of the prom. Yeah, they're going to get everything. I did cheer when Seth won for the Orville. I loved that. I thought that was great. I was really happy about that. I was happy to see, and I know Doomcock, you've talked about Twin Peaks, and you weren't a fan of it, but I was happy to see somebody like David Lynch get something. I mean, at least it's not the same freaking people over and over again. And that's every award, no matter what it is, it's the same damn people. That's why I no longer enjoy the Emmys. I no longer enjoy the Oscars. It's just like, okay, Meryl Streep, she didn't do a movie this year, but damn, she's nominated. Oh, she read the phone book. Yep, that's an Oscar nomination right there.
Yeah. Standing ovation for a child molester. Yeah. Meryl Streep, sorry.
Oh,
Not a fan of hers at all. So, yeah. Nah.
wow, what was
I
that?
just honestly,
Roman
yeah.
Polanski fan. I am not a Roman Polanski fan.
Okay.
But she is. Oh, and she also said Harvey Weinstein was God. But we forget this.
Well, Doomcock is a hypocrite in that anyone that does a supreme work of genius generally gets a pass from Doomcock for morals. I don't believe that Woody Allen touched Dylan, and Dylan even said Woody Allen didn't touch him. So, but even back then, it's like, look, I'm not going to stop loving Annie Hall and revering Woody Allen as a tremendous American director, regardless of what he did personally. I just it's none of my fucking business. I mean, if I was a judge or a cop or something, it'd be my business, but I just don't care. Roman Polanski, well, God damn it. A guy does Chinatown, he's okay in my book. I don't give a fuck what he does. I mean, he did Chinatown, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I still watch Chinatown. I just hate him. It's okay. I somehow have it in my brain that I can enjoy Chinatown and hate that guy. So
Chinatown is a masterpiece.
It is.
Buddy, I love that.
I just focus on the Jack Nicholson of it, and I'm good.
That ending.
Focus on the Robert Town screenplay.
I hate Annie Hall for completely different reasons. It beats Star Wars as Best Picture. That's why I hate Annie Hall.
But it's a masterpiece.
It's a good movie.
It's a masterpiece.
I mean, how can the best scene is when Woody Allen sneezes and the blow goes all over the room. That.
Who hasn't done that? Okay, I can't pronounce all these names, but German Comedy says people these days are so proud of women's action scenes, but there have been better ones since the 70s and 80s and 90s already with Itsuku Shihomi, Moon Lee, Cynthia Lothrock, and Yukuri Oshima. I guess I didn't do too bad on that one. I don't know any of those, but
Rothrock. She was a kick. If that's who it is, she was a kick-ass female back in the early '90s that did the male version of, of Jeff Spellman. Like the martial arts, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, okay. Dennis is into that stuff. Yeah. Cool. It's like Indiana Jones or James Bond being a woman. Some roles are just made for men. That's it. I don't think Doctor Who should be a woman. I don't either. I think they should have just made a female Time Lord like River Song and made a show with her. You know what? Put Captain Jack and River Song in a show together. I would watch the fucking shit out of that.
Yeah.
But no, they have to relabel it because they're sexist. They think a woman can't hold a show on her own, so they must use it. They got to use an established label on her, which is bullshit. So yeah,
I agree.
That's it. Asking John Kasdan to write a screenplay is like asking your doctor's kid to perform surgery. Random game user 42. Well played.
Well done. Well done, Random.
Well done, Random. I watched a bit of your stream from work, but I could not participate because I was busy. Unless you've tasted desperate, you never really understand what it means to push through adversity and achieve your own goals. You want success, you got to earn your stripes. Goddamn right, Jody. Goddamn
Unless you're John Kasdan.
Unless you're John Kasdan. You were fortunate enough to be some semen from the guy who wrote Body Heat. And his last good script was what, 25 years ago? What was his last good script? It was a long time ago.
I don't know. Silverado.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think Silverado came after Body Heat, but Body Heat was a masterpiece. One of my favorites.
It was.
Ghost
Nina
produced by
Wall.
George Lucas. Took his name off it, but he produced it.
Really?
Yeah, took his name off it. He was all
Why?
kids because he didn't want to ruin his reputation as a kid.
For God's sake.
I know. Guys, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
You know, I actually get into arguments over Body Heat because I think it's got some of the sexiest scenes ever. And one of my favorite scenes is when William Hurt is looking at her, Kathleen Turner taunting him
Yes.
inside, and he grabs the chair and he breaks through the window and then takes her on the stairs. Now, to me, that's fucking hot. Now, I've had arguments where people have been like, that's breaking and entering.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's a movie. Can we just go with it? It's kind of sexy. You know, I'm not saying that I want somebody to break through a window to come and get me, but I mean, you know, you can't beat that. That was damn good writing. I mean, that whole movie is like the heat of Miami and the heat between Kathleen Turner and William Hurt. I mean, it's undeniable. It is one of the sexiest movies out there. You know, that is just on the fringe of some porn, but well done porn.
I love the editing in that scene where the wind chimes are all around the house. I love it in the bar when he looks at her and grins and says, I want to see your wind chimes. You want to see my wind chimes? He goes, I want to hear them. That's a great scene.
Fuck yeah. I'm thinking. Sorry, I was thinking back. I manipulated my sister into taking me to that movie because the writer of Empire Strikes Back wrote it. So I thought it was just going to be some. I was 11, so I got my sister to take me to the movie, and she was pissed. It was so funny, and I was like, "Oh damn!" I thought it was just going to be some adventure.
I remember The Postman Always Rings Twice with Jack Nicholson and Jessica Lange. And I didn't tell my parents what was going to happen because I kind of had a crush on Jack Nicholson. This was like 1981. So we're watching this movie and then it dawned on me, oh, holy shit. So I'm trying to grab the remote. And there's a scene, if anybody's seen it, where it involves Jack and flour from a bread that they were making and a tabletop. And my mother is like, oh my God, you need to leave the room now. So I promptly went upstairs, got the old little, the little television and turned it on, and snow and all watched that entire scene. and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not missing this.
Hell no.
Good stuff.
Good.
I love Body Heat. The John Barry score is exquisite. I'm a soundtrack collector, and I've tracked down various iterations of the John Barry score, which originally it was not released. It was pressed but not released because he blocked it because the mix on it was not approved by him. The guy who mixed it, John Lasher, and released the album, he really emphasized this relentless organ that, dun, 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 but it goes way too much. And then recently I got a 2 CD set, a limited pressing that had the John Barry approved soundtrack. And it's much nicer. It has every single musical cue, including the bandstand music that they recorded for the background scenes. Really awesome. Incredible.
Oh,
I know his scores. I can tell John Barry's scores because he has the same theme usually running through it. I love him, and I also think one of the best scores ever written is Maurice Jarre's Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yes. I listen to that all the time, Susan. All the fucking time. In fact, I've been obsessed with Lawrence of Arabia for well, I don't know how many, all my life, I guess, since I saw it. and you know, I've got the original soundtrack, but I have to tell you, on Amazon Prime right now, I'm always pushing Amazon Prime, their music, Amazon Music. There is a recording of the entire Lawrence of Arabia score by the City of Prague Orchestra. And let me tell you something. I am a real nut about soundtracks. I am obsessive, and I can tell them the most minute differences in recordings. And these guys, what the City of Prague Orchestra does is they are slavish in emulating the tempo and the emphasis of these classic scores, but with a sound that is huge because it is like, you know, digital as all fuck. The original Lawrence of Arabia score was recorded, no kidding, with 3 mics, and that was it. 3 mics. Yes. I shit you not. And then you've got like this glorious score. If you have Amazon Music, look up the Lawrence of Arabia score, the world premiere of the entire score of Lawrence of Arabia. It will blow your mind. I listen to it all the time. Amazon, God bless you, Amazon. Jeff Bezos, God bless you for saving The Expanse and for making this Amazon Music. They also have a recording of John Barry's The Lion in Winter by the City of Prague Philharmonic. And it is, again, like ripping off the gauze from the original recording, and you just hear this glorious fucking music. They are incredible.
I gotta listen. I just loved listening to that, Doomcock. I mean, I love soundtracks. Now I don't go as far as like Lawrence of Arabia, but I'm definitely gonna check it out just for my nerd shit. But like, I have them all on vinyl. I have all my original vinyl ones that I bought when I was a kid. I could talk to you for hours just about soundtracks.
I would say I am damn near an expert on soundtracks. I'm obsessed with them. I love them. They're like the modern day Wagners and Strauss, and you know, they're incomparable.
They are, and that's all I listen to exclusively now. I was so happy the day that I was working at the Warehouse Records when Vangelis finally came out, when they came out with in America the Blade Runner soundtrack, like the full soundtrack that wasn't done by that. I forgot, it was some German
New American,
New American Orchestra or whatever the hell it was that we had to live with for so long. It was 3 or 4 when Vangelis released the Blade Runner soundtrack, and I did the full on high fidelity in there. Once I started playing it, I'm going to sell 5 of these today. And I just played the Blade Runner soundtrack all fucking day. I sold 10. It was like it was so beautiful to listen to that. I still listen to it to this day. It's so good.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't like go for the bootleg off-world edition. I've got like numerous off-world editions of the Blade Runner soundtrack that has tracks that weren't on the Vangelis, album. It's a revolutionary score.
I did not have the scratch for those kind of bootlegs. I got some boot, like my hitchhiker. Well, like I would go get the Hitchhiker. I got the Hitchhiker radio show vinyl and shit like that. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of money. But I probably need to get that. I have a bunch of digital stuff I downloaded back in the Napster when I went crazy on Napster.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's
right
awesome.
To the Interstellar soundtrack.
Zimmer.
Yes.
Zimmer.
I love that. I love that soundtrack.
I'm not very knowledgeable about that soundtrack. I mean, I saw the movie once and it didn't particularly start. I know that I am worshiping Zimmer's Inception score.
Yes.
Holy shit. That is
it's thematically very similar.
But my God, the range of bombast and sensitivity and deep emotion in that score. A lot of people slam Zimmer, but bullshit. Let me tell you, Inception is a masterpiece.
Yep.
His score to True Romance is a goddamn masterpiece.
Oh yes.
That's my top 10 favorite
How
films.
brilliant was it for Zimmer to start out the movie with steel drums in the Detroit winter? Foreshadowing the ending at the tropical island. Okay.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And of course, Crimson Tide. One of my favorite fucking movies. It's one of those movies that you don't like put on a top 10 list or even a top 100 list, and yet every single time I stumble across it on HBO or, just flipping channels, and even if it's like halfway through, I gotta stop and watch it. It is so goddamn great.
Yep. We all have that movie. Oh, True Romance. Fucking love that movie so much.
You think you can?
Quentin Tarantino script.
You think you can live with it? Him going around breathing the same air you're breathing.
Yeah.
I want to kill him, but I don't want to fucking go to jail. Go fucking jail.
Looking out for you, kid. Till the end. Yeah. You want to see a copy of Spider-Man #1? Any guy, that as a pickup line, is a man after my own heart. So working in the comic shop.
Oh yeah. I know it.
Goddamn, my wife and I, we love that movie together, so it's a good thing. Let's get to the chat a little bit. I love fucking talking about soundtracks. See how we turn things around, folks? Yeah,
I'll talk about soundtracks all day long.
That's fine. I got no problem with that.
Nobody's got
a problem with that, right? So let's get to the chat a little bit. Man of Action, what's up, dude? Haven't seen you in a while. His comment is David Lynch is always pretty good shit. He pretty much is, except for the last thing he put out. But
well, now wait a minute. Can I speak about that for a second?
Of course.
David Lynch, everybody knows what happened. He came out and he made a comment about President Trump. And the minute I read this interview, which by the way was one of the best Lynch interviews ever, I was like, holy crap, the media is going to take this. They're going to take it out of context and shit will happen. Well, sure enough, my editor puts in the chat that we have in Slack and is like, hey, Susan, because Lynch is sort of one of my beats at 1428. And I'm like, not touching it. Not going to touch this one. I'm like, because if I say what I think he meant, I'm going to get all the people that, are going to start thinking that I love Donald Trump and I don't do politics. I will not do politics on social media.
Oh,
so I didn't touch it. So sure as shit, colleagues, everybody starts writing about it and they're like, yes, David Lynch is for, Donald Trump. No, he had to come out and tell what he was talking about. And it was the fact that he was saying that, he's disrupting things, which is not good because it's him, but good because we need disruptions. We need to point out certain things. And I knew what he was getting at. But he also, when he did this, when he, basically had to explain himself, he was like, you're not going to go down in history as the greatest president. You're dividing our country, blah, blah, blah. And I knew that was going to happen to him. And it's unfortunate, because it was taken out of context. And once again, I am in the media, but God, just stop. Not everything is a story. Why didn't we focus on what a great interview that was? And why didn't you read the quote instead of grabbing what looks great so that you can get views, so that you can get readership? That pisses me the fuck off. It really does.
That's how it works, though. I mean, it sucks, but that's how it works. That's how YouTube works. That's how Twitter works. And that's the way it is. That's the way. And I'm surprised David Lynch cared who was president. I didn't think he was the kind of person who cared about politics. Honestly, I thought he's on like one of those different levels, like Andy Warhol. I just kind of, that's how I always saw the guy. I've never seen any interviews with him or anything. I've seen maybe a couple minutes of one, but I just thought he was just too weird to give a shit what a president is. Like he's on a different plane,
Yeah.
Presidents don't apply to me. I'm David fucking Lynch,
He's very, I wish he could teach me transcendental meditation because he has some very interesting ideas for creatives on how to capture things, how to capture ideas for paintings and movies And he's like, you'll get pieces from out of nowhere. And you know the finished puzzle is in another room, but there's a door and you can't get through it. Of course, it's all esoteric and David Lynch speak, but he makes perfect sense. And, you know, he's on a different level because he's talking about his latest book, Room to Dream, is really interesting because it's a bio, but it's also a memoir. So you get all his friends and colleagues, including his numerous ex-wives, talking about him personally. And he is interesting to me because he's like, his relationships have suffered because it's all about the work. And I can kind of understand that. I understand that when you're in that creative mindset, and if you're in a relationship, it's tough. And because you want to sequester yourself, you want to go paint, you want to go do whatever. But then you have these other obligations. So, for as weird as he is, he's very enlightened in some aspects.
Well, I'm enlightened myself, and I can tell you that there's nothing special about transcendental meditation. Basically, it's just another technique, and actually, at its root, there's a bit of corruption in transcendental meditation. However, the simple fact of the matter is, Susan, that we are all. It's a false. There's no way to express what we are. We could say that we are all one unified consciousness, but one implies duality. Duality is the great illusion that we all exist under, that this and that, black and white, high and low, not realizing that all these things are the same thing, different ends of the same pole. There is no such thing as an individual event. There is nothing that can be pointed to that says this starts now, that ends now, that this is a demarcation. These are all lines on maps. In fact, we are all this one consciousness pretending to be many consciousness. And David Lynch is tapping into that universal consciousness, just like I tap into it, just like anyone who is creative taps into it. I know that none of my ideas come from me. I know that none of his ideas come from him,
Right.
or they all do. So, you know, you can look at it that way, but basically meditation is one technique, or simply knowledge. I would recommend reading Alan Watts for a kind of a primer. I believe that reading the Bhagavad Gita, strip away any religious aspects of it, and it essentially is a good documentation of what truth is, the actual nature, the ground of being, the divine ground of being. So yeah, I have studied Vedanta, I've studied Buddhism, I've studied Zen for many, many, many years, and I am of a very philosophical bent. So yeah, the transcendental meditation, it's cute, but it's you know, we're creative because we're creative because we're creative. I'm just telling you, don't spend your money on that. Go within, and you'll find your answer.
Absolutely. That's how we process the data. Just what he said, you know, yeah, there's no way David Lynch could teach what he teaches because he doesn't know. He just, I mean, that's how he processes it. It's how it comes out. He turns on the faucet. It comes out David Lynch, you know, like you said, Doomcock, that's one of the hardest things to explain ever.
I think I was looking at it more for the sense of peace.
Gotcha.
Because it's like, if you've got a lot of chaos in your life, and some people thrive on that, and Tarka Jedi, it's going to get kind of 60s. I just wanted to warn you for a second.
Man.
Yeah, groovy man.
Groovy
Are you
man.
holding? So, you know, I think the peace that you find helps you tap into that creativity that you're speaking of, Doomcock. And a lot of people thrive on chaos. And I will be the first to admit, when I wrote music, yeah, chaos was big because that's how I got some of my songs. But when you get older, you're kind of like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want that. I need to keep my mind open for those ideas. And that's what I like about it, because there's no way he's going to teach anybody to be David Lynch, because he's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And we all come to things with our own blueprints, so to speak. So I think it's more about the peace that you find with that.
We recovering addicts always think that you normies, and that's what we call you, should come to our 12-step meetings. And a lot of people just think they're a cult. And, I can kind of get that. But having been through it for, God, most of my life, it's not. And that's where I find peace. But you find it where you find it. You do. I mean, it's through meditation. I fall asleep when I meditate. So fuck if I know. I can't be hypnotized. It's one of those things that whatever the fuck's wrong with me. But yeah, that's right. I go to my 12-step meetings, talk to a bunch of drunks, and I feel better afterwards. It's kind of weird. And
well, I mean, I mean, the simple fact of the matter is, this will be very controversial. People will get all riled up.
We don't
can't really. The simple fact of the matter is, we're not here to find peace.
I could agree.
We came from a place of ultimate peace outside of time and space, and this is a novelty. This is a vacation from peace. This is you're coming from a place where there is nothing to lose, there is nothing to gain. There is simply pure consciousness, pure being, and a timeless void, essentially. But it's not like an awful thing. It's a place of rest, and I can't say unity, because unity implies disunity, and that implies duality. We cannot even express. We can't have a single thought that is not mired in duality. So we cannot say what it is. It's like the Tao Te Ching says, the name that can be named is not the constant name. The way that can be named is not the constant way. When you use language, you are creating divisions. You are distinguishing things, and that fundamentally is flawed. There's no way to communicate the eternal that way. But I can say that the consciousness did not slip on a cosmic banana peel and bang its head and wind up accidentally here. Everything is exactly right, exactly as it is, because it is only this consciousness doing unto this consciousness in a play. And I think that awareness is the beginning of true peace, where you understand that you're not responsible for yourself or for the world or for anything except being yourself.
When I first heard one of your videos, I like the cut of your jib. And I could just tell, this is why I fucking love you, dude. That was awesome. People are loving it, by the way, in the chat. That was so well said. Something YouTube is your playground, sir. You're gonna destroy here. This is that was brilliant. That was really brilliant.
I have thought about this far, far more than I have thought about films. And I mean, I am at heart a philosopher. That is the main thing that I am interested in. That is the thing I have grappled with, and this is the end that I've come around in a circle, where I've gone off looking for peace because I had no peace. Very creative, very neurotic, very angry, and I've looped around and realized that it is perfectly fine that I am chaotic and creative and neurotic and angry. Because at my core, I realize that when I'm angry, I'm being quite silly.
Right. And that comes off in your videos. I mean, it does. You're not just a guy going, man, fucking Star Wars, stupid. You loop it around and you bring a point to it. You tell us why. Sometimes we don't. I'll use I statements. I don't like shit, and I have no idea why. I'm just like, it's bad. Well, what was bad about it? I don't know. It was just bad. You can explain it, even with Infinity War, I'm questioning myself with Infinity War because your goddamn video. I'm questioning my enjoyment of that movie. Damn you!
And I have to say, I mean, I'm not putting it on in terms of anger. I'm genuinely angry.
Yeah,
but there's always a part of me that is aware that everything that I am encountering is perfect. Everyone that I encounter is basically myself, because there is nothing. That's not to say that I'm grandiose, or I am God, or I am like this or that. Yes, I am God, but so are you. So is the table. So is the rock. So there's nothing else that exists. So we're all playing here. And but yes, God damn it, Star Trek Discovery. I think everything is God except fucking Star Trek Discovery. That's okay.
And that's
That's
okay.
okay.
That was beautifully said, man. This is a great show. I am having so much fun. I don't know about you guys, but this is like, I'm sorry, Dennis isn't here. It's like one of the best shows I've ever had.
Oh, dude, well,
Seriously.
I'm honored. I couldn't do it without you guys.
Fuck.
Synergy, you know.
Yeah.
Having fun.
Yes, this is all 60s speak. Know this well, says random game user 42. Yep, I do too. My mom was a hippie. Actually, I will think the universe brought us here through STD.
Oh
Well,
my God.
Well,
No, but the universe does bring things together. It really does.
it brought us together. This STD brought us together and some others in uniting in against it. And who knows? Okay, back to pop culture, guys. There was the I thought this was bullshit, but I guess this is actually happening, that Patrick Stewart is in talks to really go back and play Captain
Yep.
Picard.
They're
Like, for
looking
real?
at they're looking at doing a reboot of the next gen. I don't even know. I can't even wrap my mind around how they're going to do it. But Sir Pat Stew, it's a verbal agreement that he's into it, and all the parties are working to make it happen.
Holy shit. Doomcock, what do you think about this? Do you think just best let it lie? You know, it ended pretty well, or would you watch it?
no, I hate it. I hate it passionately. It's going to have Kurtzman, okay?
Yeah, that
And that's all I have to say.
yep.
So you are basically being a fucking whore, Patrick Stewart. You're being a fucking whore when you don't even need the money. So you're like an amateur whore. That's even worse. When you walk the streets because you like it. That's like the worst. You know, you're just selling the legacy of Star Trek: The Next Generation. You're selling out Picard to a bunch of fucktards who don't know a goddamn thing about Star Trek and care less about Star Trek and are just going to give you that Star Trek Into Darkness special treatment that they gave the original universe and STD. It is an abomination. And I cannot imagine that these people are so ungrateful. They are so callous about a role that made them iconic, that brought them fame across the world, that resulted in all of their wealth, that they don't give a damn enough to actually watch some of the shit that these fuckheads are putting out. And oh yeah, I'm going to sign Mr. Warford Gage, or it's going to be Mrs. Worf, or it's going to be a goddamn mushroom. Piece of shit.
I don't know if they're going to bring back everybody else, but I had a good discussion about that. If they're trying to reboot TNG, I'm like, okay, well, Data is an android. So we know Brent Spiner is out, because if you've seen Brent lately, Brent is Snow White. He looks every bit his age. So he's going to be out. They're going to have a new android of some sort. I mean, my one friend said that Jonathan Frakes' Riker maneuver is going to possibly cause a hip displacement. I mean, I don't understand why we have to go back to these great moments in time. Why can't we just remember the next gen? Why must we go back? Can't we just remember when Picard did this? Can't we just watch it on BBC America? I mean, I had a marathon last week with all of the the TNG movies. can't we just do that? Why do we have to do this? I just don't understand. If Kurtzman thinks this is going to get the old fans back, maybe he knows that he's pissed off the original Star Trek fans, and this is his way of extending the olive branch. I don't know. I'd rather watch the Orville.
There is no olive branch we will accept from Kurtzman, other than if his resignation letter is on the end of it. If he walks away permanently, he has gotten so much fucking mileage off that J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek, and yeah, I know it made the most money of any Star Trek movie, but it's been downhill since then. And you know, how often do we get shows that end well? Okay, it ended fucking perfect. It ended fine. I love that ending episode. I love how I'm sorry about the movies. They kind of, some of them kind of sucked. I still got some enjoyment out of them because I'm a stupid fanboy. But no, I agree with Doomcock. It's like, why can't we get Kurtzman away, get somebody involved who used to work, Ronald D. Moore, please, and write something in the future, like 100 years in the future, away from all this mess. Or just not do anything at all. I mean, because what they're doing now is they're just fucking hurting it.
I just want to remember Star Trek. That was an integral part of my childhood. I want to remember it. I want to remember those days because I had a lot of good memories associated with Star Trek. And I will admit, I was probably one of those fucktards at the beginning for TNG where I was like, oh, this is not going to be like the original. But then I grew to enjoy those characters for who they were. They weren't Kirk. They weren't Spock. They weren't McCoy. And, I just can't understand. Let's just let it in the past. Or like you said, Gary, let's not do it at all. Why do we have to do it at all? Why can't we follow Roddenberry's blueprint and go into the future? Like you said, 100 years into the future, what have you? Have Ronald D. Moore write it. I don't understand why we have to do this.
Or
all
somebody
can do is soil it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the first name because he used to write for Star Trek, but actually it would probably be nice to get some, okay, since I'm fanboying out, I'd love to get that perfect combination of new talent that respects Star Trek, whoever that person is, whoever she is, whoever it is. There's got to be a person out there who truly loves Star Trek, would not shit on the past, and can move things forward. You can't tell me that person doesn't exist. They're probably writing for The Expanse right now, but that person has to exist. Or
Melissa Snodgrass. Get Melissa Snodgrass back, who wrote Measure of a Man, one of the greatest Star Trek episodes of any series of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Or have, I know this is kind of weird, but or get somebody if they're even still alive, get somebody from the original series and have them mentor a new crop of writers in the Roddenberry way. Start from scratch. Why not try that?
That might be a good.
I'll take that job too.
Fuck yeah, give it to Doomcock.
He can do it. I know Star Trek.
Yeah.
Throw in an extra $50,000. I'm sure he'd do it. You'd do it, right?
Damn right.
There you go. He's not asking for much. The Expanse is the best. It's got some great writers. I think one of them used to write for Star Trek. I forgot which one, but I think he was part of DS9's writing crew. I wouldn't be surprised because it was that fucking good. It was that good.
You guys know there's a movement on Twitter to bring back Babylon 5?
Right. Yeah.
Bring it back with Straczynski and gang.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do. They think the time is right for it.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if Straczynski would do it, then I'd be interested because it was one of these shows that it just failed to live up to its potential because it was truncated too soon.
Yep.
Right.
Totally agreed. And, I love JMS. I'm a fan of J Mike, except for Sense8. But real quick, Agent Future gave us a $5 super chat. I don't like Alex Kurtzman, but it was CBS who gave him a 5-year deal. I don't blame him. I blame CBS and Paramount. I mean, yeah, that's true. The man took the deal, but he can always say no. he can always say, I'm not the best. I mean, like, again, this is fanboying out, but he could say, I'm not the best person for this job. So somebody else is. Thank you for the offer. He's freaking rich. He doesn't need the money. He's producing, he's doing a bunch of, he's still producing movies. And honestly, I don't know how much involvement he'll have in the show, but any is too much.
Yeah.
That's just me.
And the same thing with Patrick Stewart. The guy is rich enough and has enough of a career. He doesn't need to fuck up Picard in the Next Generation. So I have zero respect for that. And it makes me furious.
I could not agree with you more. How just let it be, people. It's a great franchise. It's the one franchise where you can like do other generations and stuff, just not what you're fucking doing right now. My fear is this is all going to tank, and then we're not going to get Star Trek again for another decade, which I guess if I'm given the choice of Star Trek Discovery or no Star Trek for a decade, I will take the latter. But that sucks that we waited this long. And, Enterprise wasn't the greatest thing since, listen, I didn't love it. Okay. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't. But
I didn't either.
And so it feels like it's been so long because it has. I don't know.
Well, here's an interesting point JP brings up in the chat. Apparently, Patrick Stewart previously said that he'd only reprise the Picard character for Quentin Tarantino. Because apparently QT was getting involved in the universe and everybody lost their minds about that. But I kind of held back on that, and I'll tell you why. Quentin, yes, he's violent. I understand. But Quentin has a love and a reverence for things that have come before him. It's in his movies, the homages that he pays in every movie he does. There's a great respect there. So I was thinking maybe he'd respect Roddenberry. I know it doesn't sound right. You put the two in the same universe, but he is aware of popular culture and he does know how to treat it. So you just never know. I don't know if it's still being talked about. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I would be interested in seeing his interpretation of it.
Yeah, if he wrote it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no interest in if he's just directing it to somebody else's script, which I've also heard. Then no, who gives a fuck?
No, he wants to write it, and I think everybody was like, "Oh, this is going to turn into Pulp Fiction or Kill Bill, in space." And I'm like, "No. If you guys know anything about Quentin and you watch his work, there's homages in there to every single thing. Like, for example, his latest movie, which I've been covering, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is an homage to Once Upon a Time in America, Once Upon a Time in the West. He knows his roots, so to speak. So I would be interested to see what comes out of his mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested in that. No doubt.
I mean, it's got to be better than what Kurtzman is doing.
Yeah, and that's just the weirdness of that. I love. I mean, that's such a weird combination. It's almost like salsa and chocolate or something. I don't know. I can't think of a good analogy, but I would see that. I love QT. All right, I don't love everything he does. Okay, but I think he would respect Star Trek. I agree with you on that one. I think if anybody out there who was a big name, he would, and it would, definitely bring butts in the seats. I don't know if they'd put it on the streaming service. I heard he was just writing. I don't know if he was directing, but
yeah, I heard.
Well, I mean, he basically did that Star Trek dialogue in Crimson Tide. He did the script on that, the polish on that script, and those scenes where it was like, Scotty, we need warp drive. What was Tarantino, as well as the Jack Kirby versus Mobius Silver Surfer stuff. So
yeah,
Tarantino knows his stuff, and I think he'd do a hell of a job if he was allowed to, and if Kurtzman wasn't anywhere near him, and et cetera, and so on.
Well, J.J. Abrams and Simon Pegg were very interested in that. were interested in him coming on board. I don't know, I don't know what idea he had or what they were talking about, but like Gary mentioned, like chocolate and
Salsa. Yeah.
salsa.
Well, J.J. Abrams can't get anywhere near Star Trek either. He's got to go
Yeah.
with Kurtzman.
And I'm like, even Patrick Stewart and Quentin Tarantino, I would like to see, because Quentin, look at who he brought back from the dead. Not that Patrick Stewart is dead. He's not. He's working. He's great. But I mean, he took Robert Forster, where we were like, what the fuck happened to him? Oh, look at Jackie Brown. He took John Travolta. It was like, what the fuck is John? Oh, Vinnie Barbarino? Holy shit, he's in Pulp Fiction now. I mean, he kind of, I call it Tarantinoing. And it's like, I'd love to find an older star and just Tarantino the shit out of him with a script and bring him back. And he does that so well that I'd love to see him work with like a William Shatner or a Picard, a Patrick Stewart. I don't know. I just think that would be endlessly interesting and entertaining than what we have going on now in that universe.
Yes.
Agreed. We'll get to some more chats. We're gonna wrap things up pretty soon because I got to work, and you guys are warriors for hanging on with me. I kind of lost track of time. We've been going for a while now. And again, thank you, Susan and Doomcock, for both joining me tonight. You guys are fucking awesome. This has seriously been a great show. I'm sorry, Dennis, buddy. Sorry, I missed this one, man. I hope you guys liked it in the chat. Tarantino does with Star Trek. My curiosity is seriously piqued. Fuck yeah. I mean, just the curiosity factor. There was some talk of Legion. Legion is not for everyone. You either love it or hate it, kind of like Farscape. Of course, that's Viking bitch.
Viking bitch.
Viking bitch. Dude, she made me some spoiler paddles. Oh, I think I showed you these for The Expanse.
Yes.
She made this. This is like so wonderful. Again, I'll put her website when this rolls into her video. She does art. She's amazing.
I have to add that Viking bitch just today sent me a piece that she did for me. She called it "Who is the Man Behind the Mask?" and it is astonishing. I'm going to actually. She gave me. I posted it on my Patreon. Gary, so you could go over there and see it, but I'm also going to go ahead and tweet it out because I think everyone should know just how amazing and talented this woman is. It was an incredible tribute, and I was so honored by it, Viking bitch. Thank you so much.
She's brilliant. Yeah, that's cool. Way to go, VB. Yeah, getting sent something by somebody who listens to you, it's surreal. It was, and she reproduced my mask and had my face, as she imagined it. It's a really incredible piece. Thank you so much. Done. I'm gonna look at that in a second once I can log into something here. Let's get to a couple more chats and then release these fine people. And yeah, usually we can go longer, but I gotta work at the crack of dawn tomorrow, folks. Good stuff. It's nice to hear. What's up, Tarka Jedi? How are you? Good day. Tarka Jedi's down in Australia.
Good day.
Good day.
Hi, mate.
Mark Mignana says, Susan, Doomcock, great stream as always, right? That's it's we come together here at Nerdrotic. It's a fun place to be. I love Mary. I love Quentin Tarantino too. I love most everything he does. Sometimes one of his jokes is like sometimes he needs an editor, but like that's not a good joke anymore because he lost his editor, which sucks. That was very tragic.
I don't really like his historical shit. I really like his current urban. I mean, that's his true voice, and I just haven't really enjoyed his. In fact, I didn't even see Django. It's just because I saw the Inglorious Bastards and I just was completely unimpressed, and that's not his voice, and I wish he'd cut it out and get back to making some fucking modern crime films. I think that's where he absolutely excels. I it's good that you wanted to experiment, but yeah, The Hateful Eight was just really boring, and
you guys, I think the new one that's coming out, it is rooted in the Manson family murders. But
Oh,
he's saying-
1969?
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he's saying that it is closest to Pulp Fiction that he's come to. Everything is hush hush about this movie, except for Leonardo DiCaprio put out an Instagram photo of he and Brad Pitt. But what the movie centers around is Leo and Brad are on a Western series. And DiCaprio's the star. His name's Rick Dalton. And Brad Pitt is his stuntman, Cliff. And they're kind of a dying breed. It's when the studio system is changing over into the independent features when we got Easy Rider, which started everything. And they're trying to make a go of it in Hollywood. And it just so happens that Rick Dalton, Leo's character, the next door neighbor, is Sharon Tate, played by Margot Robbie. And much like Paul Thomas Anderson with Magnolia and all his films, how he weaves together everybody, Tarantino's going to do the same thing like he did in Pulp Fiction. So I have great hope for this.
yeah.
Wow. Well,
That
now I'm
sounds crazy.
excited.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited. Wow.
I was born 9 days after she was murdered. It sucks. I was just looking at the date right now. It's like, damn, I was right near my birthday. So yeah.
That alibi sounds fishy to me.
Yeah, it does. God dang. Right. Yeah, I know.
You go sell that hooey somewhere else. You're taking the fall.
Infant Gary did it. That's right. We'll get to a couple more chats here. It's 3:22 p.m. here in Australia. You're in the future, man. Every vote this video up. Hell yeah, please do that. Barbie at my place. Good beer.
Crocky.
Crap coffee, but great soundtracks and combos. Yeah. Well, David, we'll have to have you back just for soundtrack talk for 3 hours because that I want to ask you lots of questions about that.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Which shows are you doing in July, August, and September? YouTube Vlog Life. Check out nerdrotic.com. I'm working on the schedule, and by tomorrow I'll have most of it up. We're doing a lot of experimenting since there's not a lot of actual TV to cover. So, and I don't think I can handle another episode of Cloak and Dagger. My head might explode. So, yeah, don't watch that show. You'll hate it. Thank you, Doomcock. You're so intelligent. It's refreshing. So are you, Susan, and Gary. You're all right too. No, just kidding. Love you guys. Mary Ashmead. Thanks.
Love you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
I am such a student of that era and time. It sounds really cool. It's talking about random game users talking about 1969.
Yep.
Johnny Pappas is a homeboy down in San Diego. Persian Scribe says, love all you fine folks. Yes, you guys are all great. Thank you all in the chat. Sorry I couldn't get to you as much, but I didn't really, I mean, we can't get Doomcock on every episode, so letting him go and not interrupting his flow was, I think, the smart thing to do because this was a great show. Real quick, let me thank the super chatters again. Please forgive me, folks, because we have so many of them. Of course, half of these proceeds are going to Doomcock. Okay,
That is so generous. Thank you, sir.
dude. My pleasure. It's all good. Movie Fanobi, Dakota Stanton, Mary Ashmead, Ray Rain, Viking Bitch, Movie Fanobi, Ray Rain, John Bellman with $100.
God, John,
Damn.
thank you, sir.
John, you're fucking awesome, dude. Hopefully, I know you get your money's worth from Doomcock. Hopefully, you get it from me. I know Susan put in like $1 million worth today, so that was great. Johnny Pappas, Feisty Fan, Ray Rain, Artemis Over Easy, Movie Fanobi, Agent Future, and Marcus Kahn. Did I miss that one? For $1.99. I think that was the last one. Guys, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for all our wonderful patrons. You're getting your packages soon. Okay, they're on the way. They're on the way. I saw somebody tweet out that they actually got theirs. And our next show will be I'm reviewing Sunday morning. I'm reviewing The Expanse Book 2, Caliban's War. So you can join us but if you haven't read the book, there'll be lots of show spoilers in it. So there you go. Guys, do you have any final words you want to say before you go? Oh, Doomcock, I'm sorry. Doomcock, please plug your channel.
My channel.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/overlorddvd. That is my YouTube channel. I also have a Patreon page with a lot of exclusive content there. And I mean, we're really building a community of amazing people over there. Viking Bitch Random, Nerdrotic is in there as well. It is patreon.com/Doomcock. Yes. Well, yeah, I have the Dick Doomcock Power Hour. Yes, it is coming up.
That's awesome.
And also you can show her. Yeah, show her.
Do you mind? I was.
there.
Do you guys just saw it? It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, why don't you show it if you
it?
can?
Yeah, I can show it. Everybody, this is Viking Bitch's gift to Doomcock. Look at that. That's on leather, right? That's
yeah,
fucking amazing.
And it's big. It's really big. It's an incredible piece.
Yeah, it is incredible.
Wow, Viking Bitch, you are so talented. Seriously, that's I'm really.
I was deeply touched. What an amazing tribute. I never would have expected something like that, and I never expected to meet so many wonderful people when I started this. Basically, because I was so outraged about Star Trek Discovery, and it just led me. I've only been doing this about 8 months now, and it's just led me to this point where I've met so many amazing, wonderful people, including those here right now with Susan and Gary and Dennis, who's away, and all. I recognize so many of you out there that are sending chats and sending super chats, and I'm just stunned. I'm just blown away, honored to know you guys, and thank you so much for. I'm getting verklempt. I better be quiet.
No, I get that way too, man. This has been the experience of a lifetime. I've been in bands, done comic books, owned a comic book shop, done all kinds of fun things. Like, this has been the experience of a lifetime, and I know Dennis would say that too. Just real quick, I mean, you were pissed about Star Trek Discovery. We started this podcast a long time ago just because we were sad and bored. I had just sold my shop, and Dennis had lost his brother. So that's what this podcast turned into. And then, we started the YouTube thing about, a year ago, and it's been amazing. And then bringing Susan on, we met Susan through Ash versus Evil Dead. And it's been great. It's been so much fun. So I know blah, blah, mushy shit and all that stuff. And that's not why you guys tune in, but just being real here, just being real. So thanks again, everybody. You guys really are the fucking best. You guys make this show. Please check out Doomcock's Patreon and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. If you like us, if you like the cut of our jib, please like, share, and subscribe. Check out Susan. Susan, what's your Twitter?
My Twitter is at Susan on the Ledge. You can catch me at 1428 Elm. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram as @Convergin.
Convergent. You're such a convergent.
I'm going to have to change that in August. So.
Okay, I think we should end it with Susan phone voice.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, all you people in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us tonight in the midnight hour. We'll see you next week. And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Or if you like it, go ahead and just let it slam away.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night.